What the hell's going on? Today I just wanted to kind of test out doing something on OBS and a little bit of laptop capture, make sure my mic works, make sure my camera works. And, I have this very stupid, incredibly niche upon niche concept I want to talk about today, which is very niche. I started a blog back in, I don't know, 2017 probably, and blah, 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 blah. I wanted to revisit my list of the top albums of 2018, and there were actually a lot of bangers here. But it's also like a very interesting focal point in music, specifically hip hop, which is really like what the focus ended up being for me at the time. And it's just funny to see. So for two reasons: one, to see like where these artists were in 2018, where they are now, or like what they're really not doing now, and another big one is, I first made this article because I couldn't believe 2018 was 5 years ago in 2023, and that was 2 years ago. So this is less about like this article that I made, and more so about this year in music specifically. And I'll mostly be bit bopping back and forth between this as a reference because actually I did a lot more research than I thought, and typically more work than I would do to film a video like this, so I just wanted to check it out. But yeah, the 5 year retrospective of my personal top 10 albums of 2018 that absolutely nobody asked for. I'm happy with like how this turned out. That being said, it's not even really done. Like this all looks pretty good, and then there's like the temporary stuff. I couldn't really go through like each and every. I'm surprised I didn't have anything for Travis Scott in 2018 versus 2023, but the good thing is the reason I'm actually utilizing this list instead of just using the Spotify, like I said, and kind of just to set the table, is there are a lot of albums that I missed that A, I really like, and B, are just like massive gaps. So it's not like, oh, I really hated. At the time, I didn't like World on Drugs, but Goodbye and Good Riddance. I can't believe those were in the same year. That feels impossible. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but. The J. Cole album, which granted I don't really listen to much these days, but I know it's incredible and I still stand by that. So I'll go through these in a minute, the ones I missed. There's definitely some that I still haven't listened to, and at this point in my life I still haven't listened to, and it's because there's so much there. Thankfully I listen to Feed the Streets too, but Taboo I still haven't really given like I'm 4 Denzel Curry albums behind at this point. Yeah, I'll go through that in a minute. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of setting the table. But I'll go through the ones I missed, just so you know. They won't be on there. I'll run through the list real quick, and then we can kind of go through any parts of this that I missed. Honestly, I'll just mostly spend my time in Spotify going through the track list to kind of go through it. But yeah, Lil Baby and Gunna, I love this collab by them. Granted, it was at the time where Gunna and Lil Baby both like hadn't made their sound distinct enough yet. All the albums prior to Street Gossip by Lil Baby I really liked, but it was all kind of one note, and he really went the fuck off on Street Gossip. I love that album, and I still can't believe I think it's because I didn't really listen to Street Gossip until the following year. I think that's the only thing that makes sense of all of this, because I love he's one of my favorite rappers, and really since he really rose to prominence with this Drip Harder tape, like him, Polo G, Roddy Ricch, I think are the 3 biggest, other than like the NBA equivalent. They're like the Anthony Edwards, SGA, and I don't know, I guess Jokic. I don't really know who the third would be that I'm thinking of, but like those really young. Tyrese Halliburton. That's like them to me. Whereas they're not exactly like the top in the NBA right now. But if you take out Steph and KD and LeBron and Embiid and stuff like that, folks that are more consistent, Harden, Kawhi, if you take them out, they're like the next up. And to me, they're like doing some of the coolest stuff right now. Lil Baby, I still think like doesn't miss. And I know that's probably controversial to some. Roddy Ricch, I think. Even his worst album of the last 3 is just like a little bit low key and chill compared to like excuse me for being antisocial, and for Feed the Streets 3 that are just banger after banger. So yeah, anyways, missed those completely, and the only thing I can think of is I listened to them after the fact. Black Panther soundtrack, I love this. It is an album. It's not really a soundtrack as much as an album. I guess I didn't think of it at the time. It was exceptional. Slime Language, there's a couple albums on here that I ended up becoming obsessed with later on that I just wasn't as crazy about on first listen. Slime Language is one of those. I thought it was just kind of all over the place. World on Drugs I thought was trash at first, and I listen to it so often now, so I feel pretty bad about that in hindsight. But compared to, and we'll get to Future in a minute, but compared to everything Future was on, and compared to Goodbye and Good Riddance, which was a lot more focused by Juice WRLD, like it just didn't measure up. But it's still incredible. It's just not nearly as good as, like, this belongs on there for sure over a couple. But it's you'll see, it's such a tight top 10. Well, it's a hard thing to say, that I don't know what I would really take off for, Slime Language, which I love, but there's a lot of like not good songs on there. And Goodbye and Good Riddance would probably Steal My Moment by T Grizzly. I do love T Grizzly, not as much these days, and he like, there was an interesting like back and forth between him and Eminem that I didn't expect. And I guess if you're T Grizzly, you got to stay hungry and try to make a name for yourself. I just think it's a bad move going after Eminem, knowing that at this point in his career he referenced Eminem as like a someone he looks up to multiple times, who like is the Godfather of Detroit type of thing. So I don't know, and he got a shout out. I don't think he got a feature, but he got a shout out from Eminem multiple times. So I don't know what that was all about. Victory Lap by Nipsey Hussle. Some of these, like in hindsight, are just so sad. It's like, that's such a good album. I loved it. I listened to it a lot when it first came out. I think I listened to it way more, unfortunately, when Nipsey passed, which is brutal. So I look back, I think that was amazing at the time and even better now. The opposite for Bobby Tarantino too. I can't believe I included this. I listened to Logic a lot. Now I have a hard time listening to Logic, especially new Logic. I don't know why. I just think he's so corny. And I think he knows that, but I don't know. He just exhausts me. So yeah, it's funny to have him sandwiched in between a great Nipsey Hussle album and then one of J. Cole's most intense works. The problem with it is, it's just not... I'm not going to say it's not club bangers, because that's like a super exaggeration, but truly it's like, I'm not really driving in my car alone in my feelings as much, just listening to KOD, but it's a great album nonetheless. And I think that was what started the whole J. Cole went platinum with no features thing. I could be wrong, but I think that was it. Actually, no, that may be... I think it started around this time as a meme, but I think maybe he had like minimal features on Forest Hills Drive. I forget whatever the album is that I'm thinking of, where he's sitting on top of the garage. Apologies for forgetting. Tierra Whack, I completely forgot about her. I think she just put out new music recently, and I thought she was really cool and interesting, but mostly from she appeared on Gary Vaynerchuk's podcast type of thing. I thought she was a fascinating artist and artistic mind, and her doing like an album, basically 1 minute songs. I think it seemed like she would be like a huge commercial hit if she had a little bit of budget underneath her. And it was this really cool idea and concept, but I don't know if she's really pulled through. But I think she came up recently, and Rico Nasty came up recently, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that. And there wasn't anything too crazy going on with their new project, so I don't know if that's like a label thing. I don't know what's going on. But to that point, like in 2018, and I was going to talk about this either earlier or later, but I'm a year and a half out of college, and then a year and a half before meeting my now wife, which is crazy. But yeah, I was in a completely different headspace at that point. Who knows? Life's a Trip, Trippie Redd, yeah, great album. Lil Skies, yeah, he's awesome. Obviously, at the time, it was like, yeah, he got snubbed by Double XL. I was like hugely invested in his rise, and yeah, I haven't heard anything from Lil Skies in a while. I know he has like terrible face tattoos, and I think probably went a little bit more auto-tune and whiny, but it's hard to tell. Yeah, the Migos Culture albums I haven't listened to in so long. I used to just have them on repeat, but I think they were the poster children for making longest, most bloated albums, and I think it all culminated in that Quality Control joint album that was like 3 hours long, and most of it was like pretty forgettable. What else? I Am Greater Than I Was, 21 Savage. I still listen to the singles a lot, but yeah, I'm not just running through that. Hoodie Season A Boogie, that's a great... But unfortunately, I'm blanking on... I get some of his albums, his later albums, like mixed together a little bit, so I'm not 1,000% sure what that looks like, if that would have made it. But Reset, Moneybag Yo. Moneybag Yo is unfortunately has the non-problem where he puts out so much good music that I don't get him. And I think they had a joint mixtape together that they had a feud over, but him and NBA YoungBoy I put in the same block where any song I listen to by them is great. Any album I listen to by them is at least extremely good. But it's not always as memorable because they're both so prolific and so good. I guarantee you he wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea just because it's a little bit mumbly, but it's definitely not mumble rap like the Atlanta mumble rap of like the late 2010s that people think of. He's articulate. He just has, he's just so good. He really should be more popular than he is, to be honest. Lil Mosey, totally forgot about. I used to listen to this a lot, but it's one of those like mindlessly in the background during work. Oh my god. Scorpion by Drake. Honestly, this is the moment I stopped liking Drake as much, so I'm glad that this got left off. Not a bad album, but too bloated. This is really, when I stopped caring about him as much, and so much has happened since the time of me writing this, so that's so funny. I'll real quick go through the ones that I still haven't. Taboo, any Denzel Curry stuff. I think Z-U-U, I think. Still haven't listened to. I've listened to this. I've listened to Stoke. I've listened to a lot of Ski Mask. It's just not for me. It's fine. I've listened to Nasir. And quality wise, it probably belongs somewhere. You'd think it would have been a top 10 with all these projects at the time from Kanye, and we'll talk about that. Obviously, there's a whole loaded thing of talking about Kanye at this time, but through the prism of his year 2018 musically, although it was tumultuous, like out of the studio, the music was definitely captivating. Whether or not it was his best is a whole nother thing, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I definitely listened to this album a lot, but maybe not at the time. I don't know. Yeah, probably because I listened to it after. I don't know, man. Whatever. Yep. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Breonna Taylor was part of that like 7-album song stretch that Kanye had, and I'll keep that same energy. Yeah, I mean there was some weird stuff with I think Kanye included the audio from Kim's sex tape in one of these songs and used it as like sampled it, like interpolated it, which I think is so psychotic. But all right, so all that being said, let's just revisit my top 10, and then we can kind of go through what was going on at the time and kind of where they're at now. And then like at the end, we'll see like what I would change. Obviously, it's crazy to have Ye as the top album of all these, and there's a multitude of reasons that I would probably want to push Carter 5 up to the top or something like that, and how differently do I feel about Daytona and stuff like that. But we'll say I don't know why there was 11 on here, but The Last Rocket by Takeoff. I'm pretty sure this was an honorable mention, and I just didn't want to take it off. Didn't want to remove it because it was so cool to finally get a solo album from him, because the Quavo one was like okay. Offset had one, if not two, at that point. He definitely had a little bit after this, or around the time of this, he had the No Warning, him and 21 Savage album. That was fucking incredible. I don't know when that came out. It might have been right after this or right before this, but that was awesome. Quavo had the Huncho Jack Huncho with Travis Scott. So like incredible side projects. This was just kind of a nod to him. He was like the unsung Negro at the time, and unfortunately he's passed since then. So like I don't think it's that good of an album, unfortunately, but or not like a lasting impact. It was cool. It was more of a novelty, but obviously I'm glad I left it on there as like a a nice nod to like an incredible artist, like a very talented rapper, probably the like bar for bar the most talented. It's just like anyways, I'm not gonna delve into that. Astroworld by Travis Scott. I'm surprised I had this low, but also I know where some of these albums were in terms of like how heavy on rotation they were at the time. So and it was like a little bloated. This was at the time where I remember saying the word bloated so often and seeing it in reviews, where like some of these are just too long, and like Sicko Mode is still like has actually aged better than I thought. It seemed like it could be very of the time, but we'll go through the track list in a minute. Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy, like this is definitely like the peak, which is crazy to say, but like she was completely at the top of her game at this time, and her big breakthrough, Bodak Yellow. Like honestly, I listened. It's still a good listen all the way through. It's got quite a few like singles, quite a few just like I forget what the first song on the album is, but it's really good. There's basically I think it starts off with her telling Offset to stop cheating on her, and I think it's be careful. And yeah, he didn't listen. It was crazy. It was like on wax. She's like, please don't do this. I will ruin your life. And he's like, yeah, but what if I just did it anyway? Bouncing on to, I don't know. I still don't know to this day if it's I think I always say Khaled. So hopefully, all due respect if I got it wrong. Also exclude like the little numbers on here. I used to like make playlists to keep track of the albums I wanted to listen to. It was a weird system I used to use back in the day. I'm surprised Spotify didn't make me stop making playlists. But anyways, Sun City, it's still a great listen to all the way through. It's a great road trip album. If you're not trying to get like pumped up, it's a great like summer day album. So there's that. But yeah, I don't think I would put it above either of these two. I just really like it. And then On the Run by Young Thug, it's so funny at this time. It's like, of course he was having legal troubles because he's always having fucking legal troubles. But yeah, some of these are really short too, so it feels like kind of, are you giving it a little bit of a bump, like a half-star rating because it's so short? And like, think of how good this could be if it was like a full feature length or full length like record. But On the Run was awesome. We'll go through that in a minute. Kids See Ghosts. I haven't listened to this in years, and I can say the same. Honestly, to yeah, we'll just say that. But yeah, Kids See Ghosts, it probably still is very good, but yeah, it's crazy. I listened to it so often that year and the following year during work and stuff like that. But Beast Mode 2, yeah, I huge Future fan. His stretch during this time was unbelievable, and I think it was probably your average Future fan would say at this point, like this was kind of like slept on, like nobody really talked about it much, and it was obviously very short. It's like basically an EP, but every song is great in its own way. Daytona, Push hasn't really made anything too great since then. I don't remember. I think this was right before him and Drake went back and forth and did that whole thing with the revealing his son, but he really hasn't done anything since then. I've kind of soured on him a little bit. Like, once again, extremely talented, but I think he's more of a fan of himself than I don't know. I think he's wearing that as welcome, unfortunately. Carter 5. Apparently Carter 6 is fucking terrible. I've listened to some of it and nothing great, but yeah, Carter 5. It started out not too sure. It had so many songs on it. None of them were too quality, but ended up really like finding its groove eventually in my rotation. And then the Carter 5 Deluxe, there's some really good songs on there as well. I think Bing James was one of those. I don't remember for sure, but it was followed up right after with Funeral. I think Funeral was either right before this or right after this, and that had Bing James and Mahogany and like some of the best Lil Wayne songs in like a good decade. So love this album, very emotional. Love the Carter series, especially 3 and 4 was like pivotal times in my life, and obviously I've gone back and listened to the others, but incredible. Meek Mill Championships, it makes me so sad because this is such a great album, and at the time I couldn't wait to champion it and maybe put it number 1. It's like this is probably the last good Meek Mill album that we've gotten, and I'll go through that in a second. I'll just double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. I know he had like an EP that was pretty entertaining, but like nothing crazy, and then him getting caught up with all the Diddy stuff is actually crazy because that was probably a couple years ago at this point also. And then I had it as number 1 just because it was like so hard to not recognize like the talent and the genius and how disruptive it was at the time. Oh my god, Jesus. Okay, so there was crazy shit popping off in 2023. It's so funny, surprising yet not in my head an agreement, understanding and confused the specific placements. Yeah, it's a good snapshot of the year, and yeah, I think if anything, maybe Sun City, and if you're like an objective person, like On the Run probably doesn't belong on here, but I absolutely love it. We'll go through the track list, but Kids See Ghosts, it was just so good that even though I'm like soured on it at this point, I don't know if I would have to bump On the Run before I bump Kids See Ghosts to put on a Juice WRLD record or a Lil Baby record. Obviously, yeah, Lil Baby, was it Gossip, Street Gossip? Yeah, Street Gossip would definitely be top 3 for me now. I'd probably even put it above Carter 5. It just Carter 5 has that one really emotional track, and a couple other ones that really carry it higher than it should be quality wise. And then Championships, so great. So yeah, this is funny. Kanye West in 2018, Kanye was bipolar but not anti-Semitic, a surprisingly quaint time in hindsight. At the time, it sucked because it was like, all right, we're coming off of probably a couple years wait after Life of Pablo, which at the time he was already wilding out. And then he promised TurboGrafx 16. He promised, I don't know, yeah, Yandhi was either before this. No, this Yandhi was after Ye, and it never got released. It was a whole thing. I don't know what was going on with that. So it was just a complicated time. And then he came out with this, and I hated it at first, and I listened to it like 2-3 times in a row. And every time I listened to it, I was like, God, this is so, man. It's even some of the time like a TikTok or a YouTube short will sneak up on me with that song that has the dude from Ray Shremmerd. What the fuck's his name? He's like very popular. He was on the Sunflower song. I don't think he's on it though. Let's see. Yeah, they don't list him as Sway Lee. My apologies. Okay. And also, yeah, all these are gonna be like playlists. It's fine. I'll. Oh no. What have I done? No. My apologies. This is no. Okay, well, this is, I guess, what I was looking for. Jesus. But yeah, I'll look at the track list in a second, but it's unfortunate. Yeah, this is so crazy to even look at because I never listen to any of these songs anymore. But we'll go bottom to top. Yeah, Travis Scott in 2018 was definitely a lot more popular and cool than he is now. I just saw an article that confirmed that when he slapped Cody Rhodes in the ear during WrestleMania, they blew his eardrum. So that's great. No, not WrestleMania. It was Elimination Chamber, presumably. Yeah, Elimination Chamber. Let's just look at his albums and see if he's done anything I've liked since then. And like I listened to Jack Boys, the first one. Huncho Jack Huncho was 2017. Jack Boys was like fine, nothing crazy. Utopia, I just never listened to. So he definitely has had some singles. Don't get me wrong. Let's just go to singles and EPs and see what I'm sure I missed something. Well, yeah, Hot remix is incredible. Highest in the Room. Highest in the Room is such a good song. Oh my god. The Scots was like cool, but it reminds me of Fortnite, which I don't really want to think about. Oh, franchise. Yeah, he's had some incredible do-rag activity. Oh my god. Some really good singles since then, but yeah, nothing too crazy. A lot of really good features. So yeah, I'm not going to bump that up too much more than it already was. It belongs higher, but let's just see. Am I crazy? Hold on, let me just. Yeah, it's more of a vibe album. It's very similar to Scorpio or Scorpion by Drake, where like I'm not gonna put on 5% Tint, but when it inevitably comes on, or just Stop Trying to Be God right after R.I.P. Screw. Oh man, what a weird album. What a weird. He has like such good music, but like you have to listen to his albums all the way through. If you only put on Stop Trying to Be God, like when you had the aux in somebody's car, that would be quite confused that you're chasing me. Okay. Oh, Get Up 10 is actually a really great way to start this album. Drip is incredible. It is a hilarious song. What a wild, crazy song. Bodak Yellow, easily like one of the best songs of the era, which I know is crazy and sounds hyperbolic, but truly it's so good. Like the production is so good. Her flow on it is crazy. Even if she didn't write it all herself, that's still remarkable. Be Careful is, yeah, a really good song. I don't even remember this song that well, but I'm sure it's great. I Like It is incredible. Yeah, these like Bodak Yellow and I Like It back to back, or not back to back, but are just so good. And Drip, I would also put in that bucket. Like those three like make this probably like a top 6 to 7 album, arguably top 5 in terms of like how well it's aged. Moneybag, I remember liking a lot. Ring, I think Ring was awesome if memory serves. Yeah, She Bad is hilarious. Through Your Phone is actually a really good song too. So some of these, I don't believe that she didn't write any of it. Like I don't think that can be true because it's so good. But maybe she just had a lot of input. Sun City. Oh, this is an EP, or at least a very short album. Okay. Well, it's great. It's a very good vibe. That's probably why I'm so favorable on it, because I listened to it like 150 times. And On the Run is so good. Offset has a great feature on it. I see. I think I remember it being really good. Climax is great. Sin is really good. Yeah, these are incredible. Real in My Veins, I love this. T Shine never really did much after this. And then some people may hate this. Obviously, I love Rocket Man by Elton John, but this song I have put on so many times, late nights, early mornings in the gym, driving, stuck in traffic, working. It's just like one of those steady rotation songs for me. Itsy Ghost, let's see. Oh, Feel the Love is an incredible song, though. Damn. Oh, Free is the song I was thinking of. My apologies. So, yeah. That's so random. Oh, wait, no, that's not the. No, I was thinking of Ghost Town. My apologies. I don't know what the fuck. Whatever, dude. Alright. Yeah, it's funny that they had, Well, I don't know if he had changed, if Mos Def had changed his name again at that point, or if that was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, it's like it's really good, but you know, Kid Cudi and I don't know, he's done some weird shit at this point that I don't know what to do with him anymore. But all right, now we got to something I definitely think should be even higher. Wi-Fi Lit is incredible. Cut on My Wrist. Oh my god, what a amazing 1-2 punch. Rax Blue is great. 31 Days is insane. Red Light is insane. I love the song though. Is Young Scooter? I think Young Scooter died unfortunately. He's been one of my favorite parts of the like this era of Future. Like his is such good like high energy like crazy features. When I think oh my god, when I think about It's Incredible some more. Hate the Real Me is one of my favorite like sad Future songs. He was in such like a tumultuous time at this point in his career, and let's just flip through. I have some more intelligent things in the article, but like I've done enough of reading my own thoughts for my particular tastes. But let's just go to his albums real quick so we can go through. Like, to be honest, I didn't listen to Pluto when it first came out. Honest, I was aware of it, and I definitely had like a couple of the songs. That was when I was downloading song by song at the time, but I knew about Monster. Monster was like crazy popular. I loved Beast Mode actually. I like Beast Mode more than I love Monster. At this point, I love them both. But people always talk about Monster way more than Beast Mode. I think Beast Mode 1 is easily. I guess I would have to say. I would say top 3 for me personally, and I would understand why it wouldn't fall there. 56 Nights in hindsight, I didn't really listen to it as much at the time because, once again, he was putting out so much stuff that I've grown to love it in hindsight. But at the time, I was just like, you know, knew a couple of the early tracks and moved on to the next one. Dirty Sprite 2 is so good. It's not as consistent as like a lot of his earlier and later works, but like it was so iconic at the time. That's what really got me into Future because like I'd heard Monster, but Dirty Strike 2 made me go back like where yeah I said like dude, this was on steady rotation when I was in college. This was so good. Oh, it was 2015. That's later than I thought. But so good, and that made me really like fall in love with his back catalog and What a Time to Be Alive. Unfortunately, you know, for both of them, I guess like I think is incredible, but really kind of you know, a Frozen in Time type of thing. Purple Rain is really great. Makes you think of the messiness with Russell Wilson. Evil is a top 3 Future project to me, and nobody talks about it. I have no idea why. Lil Hey Baby is one of my favorite songs. In Her Mouth is insane. Ain't No Time is so good. Maybach is great. Photocopy is really good. Seven Rings. Lie to Me is like a really good, like, you know, Future Hendrix, like a R&B type. He's so sad. Fly Shit Only is great. Low Life with The Weeknd is incredible, and then of course Wicked is great. Program is every song is incredible. You can put them on in any setting, and someone will at least bob their head, unless they really don't like hip hop. And then the Future and Hendrix double album. Like at this time, I was still listening to Evil so much and all the other stuff that I really liked Future. I wasn't as crazy about Hendrix at the time, and now like I do really like it. I didn't love this as much at the time, which is so funny because I listened to this almost more than anything, and they're two of my favorite artists that I started off not being as big of a fan of. I couldn't understand the Young Thug hype, and now he can do no wrong in my eyes, even when he objectively does wrong. And then Beast Mode 2 was like so. Yeah, Superfly wasn't that good of a movie, and this wasn't exactly like a. Was this really the same year as Black Panther? The webcam is covering up. Oh, am I not typing? This can't be 2018. It is 2018. How the fuck is Superfly the same year Black Panther? All right, well that's great. Yeah, it's not that good of a movie. The soundtrack I don't remember as much either. Let's see if I recognize a single. Nope. 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 Tie My Shoes. Yeah, actually I do know that one. And keep in mind, like, I love like basically every artist here, and I have no idea any of these songs. It's so unfortunate. Beast Mode 2, and then yeah, into the rest of us. I don't know how often I'll get a chance to talk about this. I know we'll do a 2019 video after this, so I won't be reading my own fucking article. But The Wizard is easily such a slept-on Future album and one of my favorites. And then yeah, Save Me, and that's kind of like where it started being a different chapter. Like I love this collab, but yeah, this, like not as crazy, but I'll listen to. Don't get me wrong. And then this is complicated as well because it's like good, and this is like really vibey, but yeah, it's fascinating. But yeah, I would probably put this top 3 with Lil Baby and something else I mentioned earlier. And then yeah, we'll look at the Push album real quick. If you know, you know is great. The Games We Play. Hard Piano is such a good album. Come Back Baby, I don't remember at all. Santeria is very good. What did Meek do? Was that, this must have been when Meek Mill was locked up? I don't know. Or no, I think this was a Drake diss. And then Kanye was, I don't know, that was weird. Infrared, great, but that's where the Drake diss came from. And it's like, all right, well, like the rest of it was good enough they didn't need all that. We'll skip over Card 5 for a second, just go into championships. Trauma is an incredible intro, is great. Trauma up to vibes is very funny. It's a good vibes. On Me is hilarious, so crazy. He says some wild out of pocket stuff on there. What's Free is incredible. Respect the Game, Splash One. Yeah, these are all really good. Obviously, Going Bad is such a weird look for him to partner up with Drake. Like it is one of his most successful songs probably, but yeah, Tic Tac Toe is one of those that's not like an actual good. It's so funny. Oodles and Noodles Babies is a really good song. It reminds me, it always, this and like 2 Chainz's whole Rapper Go to the League album. Like I think of those very often where it's like it's so good but it hurts your heart. Payback's very good. With the Shits I like a lot. 100 Summers is great. I thought he has a feature on this, but great. Dangerous is really good. Cold Hearted 2. Is that the one with one of these has Diddy on it, unfortunately. I think that's Cold Heart 2. So yeah, that is up there. It's not as strong as I remember, as a lot of like nonsense on there, like you know, With the Shits and the Cardi B album or track, but go to Ye real quick. I think we did this earlier. My apologies. All right, so Card 5, let's see. The Note from His Mom. Don't Cry was an interesting one because he had never even met X. And yeah, Dedicate is great. Uproar is incredible. Uproar and Let It Fly is an incredible 1-2 punch. But yeah, Uproar is one of my favorite songs by him at this point, which is, I've been a fan of him since what, like 05, 06. Don't remember this one as much, but I know it's good. I know this is good, I just don't remember. What About Me, I think I remember liking. Open Letters, easily one of the best songs he's ever made. Assuming it's the one I'm thinking of. Oh no, Let It All Work Out is the song I'm thinking of. Open Letter is also very good. Famous is great. Yeah, this is when it starts getting sad. Yeah, it took its time. Yes, but it's way too fucking long. It's 23 tracks, an hour and a half, and that's not even the deluxe. It's like, all right, maybe it wouldn't be top 3, but yeah, Open Letter and Let It All Work Out makes me want to cry constantly. And there's a lot of great songs in here. There's just also a lot of nonsense, but so yeah, that's pretty much what I would change. Obviously, I don't really want to listen to at this point, so I wouldn't, like, if anything, it would go down. I don't think it would be responsible to put it off the list completely from a music standpoint, but if it's my fucking list, then yeah, I would take, just for my own personal well-being, I would take off Kids See Ghosts, and that would free up a spot for Juice WRLD, free up a spot for Lil Baby. I'd probably free up another spot. I would take off Sun City, even though I really do like that record, and put on Drip Harder. And I'm sure there's one other. Oh, I would put on Moneybagg Yo, so I'd probably take off. I don't think I could take off Astroworld though, for being. Obviously, I'm not being. What's it called? Objective in any way, because it's just my personal list. But like, it would be disingenuous, I guess, to take off Astro because front to back, it's a great album. I don't think I would really take off Daytona, but that would be towards the bottom. Invasion of Privacy, if anything, would go up. And I honestly, I think it would be a little too complicated to be moving stuff around, especially because my webcam is covering the search bar here. But so yeah, that's pretty much what I would do. Like I would take this off. Carter 5 would go down. Beast Mode would actually go in top 3. I think I can at least yep, I can do that at least. And no, that's gonna be too complicated because I have to make a new playlist and drag it into this folder. I'm gonna break everything, but just assume that. And that's like crazy because yeah, I think a Counterparts album. So funny that I happened to put L and this came up. Oh, never mind. It was literally 2017 and 19, but I'm sure there are a lot of non-rap albums that came out, or hip hop or whatever, that came out during this time that I would put in here as well. But realistically, that's what I was on, and I just kind of wanted to revisit it and see. But yeah, I'm sure I have some more fascinating input here. But yeah, my Pusha T thoughts have definitely changed. Like, and yeah, at the time I was like, well, I got to leave, this album on there because Kanye hadn't done as much to this point at that time, as he has at this point. I straight at that time I was like, oh, like I just won't listen to his new stuff. I can listen to his old stuff and listen to like Graduation, Late Registration, and whatever like the main one is that I'm blanking on because I'm an idiot. But College Dropout, Jesus, that took me a second. I love how I went with I went in reverse order of chronological release and of like how people adore those albums. So all that being said, unfortunately, it seems like even Jay-Z, my top my favorite rapper of all time, will probably be kind of bumped down my list as well. Like love Eminem, and some of those tracks are just hard to go back and listen to, and Jay-Z is joining that list as well. So Lil Wayne is probably gonna soon be like my, if someone asks, be like, oh, my favorite. I'm not gonna say the best rapper of all time. That's a completely different set of answers that has to include like a top 5 that include Biggie, include Tupac. Me, still include Jay-Z, Eminem. I don't know in no particular order. And then it's like, all right, I'm not as crazy about Nas, like, but skill wise he's up there. And then there's like other people who are skill wise up there that I wouldn't know what to do with. So no, I'm not crazy in that regard, but I have my personal taste. I'm not gonna say Future is a top 5 skill, bar for bar rapper of all time, but he's one of my favorites at this point. If I were to put a Mount Rushmore of my personal tastes at this point in time, it would be criminal to not include Future. So would it be, if I was still holding on to old stuff, if I wasn't like eliminating anybody, it would probably be Jay-Z, Eminem. It would have been Kanye, and then like Future. Now if you take him off, it feels psychotic to say like Jay-Z, Eminem, Future, and Young Thug. Like I don't know if I can say that, but Meek Mill I wouldn't put above Young Thug at this point. It's just Young Thug is more of like an artist, like a hip hop artist, than like a rapper per se. I don't know what that would be. That's a video for another day. But if you made it this far, thank you so much. Definitely drop some comments, like if you're even watching this. But this is more for my own mental posterity and just talking about music and stuff like that. Warming up the old vocal cords as I completely crater into nothing and not being able to form a sentence at this point. But that's what happens when you talk about Cardi B in the same sentence you talk about Kanye's anti-Semitism. So if you made it this far, thanks so much. Drop a comment of what your favorite albums for this era was. If you're going to roast my takes, I don't really have strong takes. It's not like I'm like, Kanye did nothing wrong. Please don't clip that. Like, I definitely don't believe that. And I even came away from this just not in love with Carter 5 as I thought. So I'm definitely able to be swayed and able to be, form new opinions. So, but that's all for today. And thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next one later.